You're the man.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you don't, I know this time, it's like 3:45, and you're like, I cannot be more tired. I'm going to be more tired right now. That's what I know. I feel the same way at this time, but I've been drinking coffee all day, and I'm ready. So we are going to, over the next 25 minutes, we are going to commit to being more skeptical. There are not enough skeptical CMOs in the world. I think we need some more. We're going to be more committed to bigger ideas, simple big ideas. I want you to be committed. I want you to be creative. Be more creative. Take big risks, people. I want big risks. I want you to be more inquisitive. Start asking questions, not about your company, about your audience, about the people, the clients, the customers you serve. I want you to be more audacious, and I want you to be more inspiring, for sure. But before we do that, I want to go back to number one. I want you to be more skeptical. We're going to start by talking about the funnel, okay? The funnel. We all know the funnel, right? Awareness, consideration, intent, purchase, loyalty, advocacy. Well, I started asking questions. I'm inquisitive. I wanted to know, where did the funnel come from? Where did we get this thing? So I did some research. I spent a little time on Wikipedia. Look at this. It was invented in 1898 by a guy named St. Elmo Lewis, which is an awesome name, by the way. So if you're naming a baby, St. Elmo Lewis should be on your list. But he didn't draw a funnel, I'll give you that. But he came up with attention, interest, and desire and conviction will outweigh all the objections in a sale, and you'll have a sale. This was his concept. 1898, people, and we've tried to redesign and reinvent the funnel, right? We've given it to a designer and said, turn it into a bow tie, I think. This is a good idea. Add some dots and maybe some extra phases that we never had before. This seems like a good idea. We've done a good job rethinking it. We've turned it on its head and said, let's come up with the mirrored triangles and add a random gray arrow, put some gradients over on the side. It's going to look modern. This is genius. We've also gone really overboard. This is the funnel inside of a more complicated funnel with two random blue arrows, one of which says, more money in my pocket. It just comes out, people. You just do it this way, and you just shove it in. Just put it right in there. This one takes the cake. This is the FU funnel. Yeah. Tofu, mofu, and bofu, some genius inserted into this. We don't need new funnels, people. Even in 1898, we didn't even have airplanes in 1898, people, and St. Elmo Lewis evolved his design to this Russian doll's like nested bucket thing, where as a sales guy, you'd walk away with the sale, right? I just made this. Look, we use the same framework we came up with in 1898. A lot has changed since then. We have airplanes now, people. We need to rethink the funnel. One of the most fundamental things that's changed in the last 100 years is the web, right? We need to embrace a new world view. We need to be a little bit more humble about our awesome 500 brands in the marketplace. We need to embrace a new model of the universe. The first thing we need to think about is what the web used to be like. We used to have a Ptolemaic model of the web. Now, if you don't remember who Ptolemy was, he was a 2nd century astronomer who decided that the Earth was the center of the universe. And when we came up with our first websites, we thought this way. We were like, hey, we're going to build the best website in the world, and everybody's just going to come to us. We're the center of the universe. The sun revolves around us. This is what we decided. The Ptolemaic web view has to change because we live in a Galilean web universe. Now, Galileo was the guy that came along in the 16th century, and he looked at a telescope and he said, wow, holy smokes, we are not the center of the universe. In fact, there's a sun, we revolve around the sun, there's a lot of planets this was heresy. I want you to be a heretic. That's what I'm saying. I want you to embrace the Galilean model of the universe. What's the web model look like? The Galilean web model of the universe looks like this. What's at the search center of the sun? It's the Googs, the Google. I know people that love Google so much, they type in google.com into Google to get to Google. It's the center of the universe, people. And radiating out from that is your client, your customer, their everyday experience. You've got things like they're checking their email, right, all day long. They're watching crap on YouTube. They're on Facebook, Facebooking people. They're watching some news. They're tweeting crap. They're pinning things. We just heard Kevin. I know you skeptical CMOs. They're pinning crap all day long. They're flickering, they're LinkedIIning, they're stumbling upon, they're digging, they're Redditing, they're iTunesing, they're WordPressing, they're scribing. I don't even know what some of those logos are, people. Where is your website? It's way the hell out here in the middle of nowhere. come all the way out here and get the stuff you really want, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we have to embrace the Galilean model of the universe. We need to get closer and closer to our clients and our customers' everyday experience. I want you to ask yourself in the next marketing meeting if you're being a Galileo or you're being a Ptolemy. Do you care if they click every link, or do you just want another sale? Do you mind if they watch a YouTube video and decide to call your sales department from the YouTube video? That's embrace the new model of the online universe. Now, search is evolving. I'm willing to give you that. We heard Google yesterday talk about how search is evolving, but Google is the comfort food of search. It is the meatloaf, the mashed potatoes and peas of search. It feels good. 10 blue links is yummy. That's what I think. And it's evolving. When I started putting this presentation together, I went looking for a picture of meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and peas. I didn't go to Google. I went to Flickr. And I went through 2,000 pictures of meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and peas looking for a picture that was cool enough for this presentation, and that's the one I found. It's homely, it feels good, it's not a professional photo, I get it. 15 minutes I'm looking at this, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, I'm pretty hungry. I want meatloaf for dinner. So I go to allrecipes.com, I find easy meatloaf. It's got 22,000 reviews, 4.5 stars. I'm gonna make this. I start reading it, I'm like, this is overly complicated. I'm gonna actually go out for meatloaf. So I go to Yelp, I type in best meatloaf, Boston, Massachusetts, which is where I live, and I look down the page, and there are 2 restaurants I like, Pop's Restaurant and the All-Star Sandwich Bar. Both great places. One has bad parking. One is too noisy for my wife. I like it. She doesn't. We don't have to talk when we're there, which is what so I decide, maybe I'm not going out for meatloaf. I'll go back to my original idea, and I go to YouTube to watch a video on how to make meatloaf. This seems more efficient. This is a 10-minute long, I have ADD, people. I'm not going to watch a 10-minute meatloaf. I'm like, forget it. So I go to 5min.com, where you can learn how to do anything in 5 minutes or less, and I start watching this one, which is only 3 minutes and 42 seconds. I'm enjoying it, but then she says, you need a meatloaf pan, and I'm like, crap, I don't have a meatloaf pan. So I go to Amazon, I type in meatloaf, I get my meatloaf pan, it's on order, I've got Prime, it'll be here tomorrow. I'm very excited about my meatloaf pan, and I've got some time to kill. I'm a history buff, so I look up on Wikipedia, where did this come from? It's the German Americans in Pennsylvania brought us meatloaf. Thank you, Pennsylvania, I appreciate it. And then I decide, this can't be good for you. That picture looks pretty nasty. How many calories from fat are in meatloaf? It's 1,138 calories, people. That is disgusting. So I go to Facebook and I join the Meatloaf Sucks group. And there's a big old long diatribe by a guy who didn't cook his meatloaf all the way, and he got E. coli. And I'm like, oh my God, E. coli. What temperature do I have to cook this to? And then I realize it's 160 degrees, and I'm really conflicted now. So I decide, you know what, let me take the pulse of the public right this second. I will go to Twitter and see who's interested in meatloaf. Look at this guy. Hey, I do, laughing out loud, my fiance makes a bangin' meatloaf, which I'm pretty sure is a euphemism. So I'm like, forget it. And then there's this other guy who says, not sure what the hell I just ate. I'm like, forget it. I'm going to cancel my meatloaf pan. I go back to Amazon, I type in meatloaf, and I get Meatloaf the Artist. I forgot about that guy. Bat Out of Hell is such a great album. What is that guy's real name? I don't know, so I go to AllMusic. It's Marvin Lee Day. He's from Dallas. I'm from Houston. And then I remember I saw something back here on Twitter. Oh, on the bill tomorrow night, 6/8 at the Bank of America Pavilion, VIP tent for Meatloaf. I go to Ticketmaster, I buy 2 tickets to the concert, I take my wife, we have a great time at the Meatloaf, I take a bunch of pictures, I upload them to Flickr in the morning, and I go, wait a second, I'm back where I started, looking at pictures of meatloaf on Flickr. Thank you. Look, thank you. Look, people, here's a question I have for you. Funnel that. Okay? I mean, where's the awareness phase for meatloaf pictures, right? We have to embrace a new model. We have to rethink the universe. And I'm not saying there's one model. I'm saying we have to find a model. I like the consumer journey or the client journey by McKinsey & Company. And I'm going to walk you through it very quickly in case you don't know it. I've added one small tweak, a moment of inspiration. A moment of inspiration is a moment in time that sends you on a journey you never expected. And in my case, it was, I need a picture of meatloaf, okay? And all of a sudden, there's a trigger from that moment of inspiration that says, I want to eat meatloaf. Where do I get a recipe for meatloaf? That's the initial consideration set. In my mind, it was all recipes. Sometimes it's the biggest brand in the marketplace that spent the most dollars on advertising. And then what happens? You move into active evaluation. In active evaluation, you add and subtract brands as you get closer and closer to the moment of purchase. And you can see here that 57% of B2B customers make a decision on what supplier they want to use before they contact the supplier. That's active evaluation. That's this mess. When you say you're mapping the buyer journey, does it look like this? Because that's the reality of the consumer. As they get closer and closer to the moment of purchase, they eventually buy. They sign up as a new client, a new customer for you. And then you enter the loyalty loop. And in the loyalty loop, it's your opportunity to build more, better clients from the clients you've got by creating new moments of inspiration that trigger new journeys that get them faster to the moment of purchase and stay out of the active evaluation loop. That is the consumer journey. Here's the deal. This is what we spend our time working on, this kind of content. We spend tons of money, time, and energy working on the stuff that's close to the moment of purchase. The biggest opportunity in marketing today is to think about the moment of inspiration. I want you to think about moments of inspiration. If you want to own the consumer journey, you have to create moments of inspiration. You have to trigger an irresistible urge to act. So who's done this well? Let's take you on an audacious quest. In 2011, IBM was trying to transition from a manufacturer to a service provider, and no one in the last 5 years in the B2B market has done something as monumental and as unbelievably compelling as IBM. They decided in 2011 to take Watson, a computer, to play Jeopardy!
From the T.J. Watson Research Center in Yorktown Heights, New York, this is Jeopardy! The IBM Challenge.
They created an unbelievably smart stunt that has led to an entire line of business. Not just because he played and won Jeopardy! Watson, sorry, I think of him as a person for some reason, but it actually spawned a Nova special, a PBS special, an hour-long documentary all about the smartest machine on earth. 80% of the content in this documentary was shot by IBM. They created this content that all of a sudden started CEOs around the world thinking that maybe Google, maybe Apple is not the solution to their business problems. But IBM, once again, is the solution. Mark Lowridge, the CFO. When your CFO says your marketing is awesome, you have kicked ass, people. Okay? He said, we didn't invest just to play Jeopardy! We invested to prove leadership applications for our clients. And they had 20% growth in 1 month, that first month in March of 2011 after they played Jeopardy! You go search Google today and look for IBM Watson. The headlines are insane. They are still creating content from one big idea, winning at Jeopardy! And this is the kind of headline they were looking for. Google and Jeopardy! What if IBM Watson dethroned the king of search? Watson is a great story that built an entire line of business. It's a moment of inspiration. Those 2 nights in February of 2011 inspired C-level executives to rethink their entire strategy. A moment of inspiration that led to a return on investment. MOI leads to ROI. If you want measurable ROI, start thinking about the moment of inspiration, the instant in time that sends you on a journey you never expected. Now, moments of inspiration are interesting because they use implied calls to action. We know what a call to action is, right? You, sir, buy now. Yeah, you. Hey, donate now. Yeah, there, he did it. He really did. That's a call to action. An implied call to action is where the content consumer creates their own imaginary button. They're inspired to act because the content is so good. It invites the content consumer to take the next step. Some of the most effective content needs no call to action. It creates a moment of inspiration. That is what the Jeopardy! Challenge did. It created that moment in the minds of C-level executives. We need to stop creating campaigns and start making commitments to telling bigger stories, stories that are bigger than us. This is what I call cornerstone content. And I want you to start thinking like that automatic truck, the innovation truck. Moments of inspiration increase demand for the products and services we sell. We have to embrace the idea that great storytelling isn't easy, but tying it to revenue is even harder. And how do we do both? How do we answer these questions? I want you to use that inquisitive mind of yours to start thinking about it. I think one of the ways we can do this is to think about content brands. Watson is a content brand, not branded content. Branded content is created for a company. A content brand is created for a valuable audience. And when you start thinking this way, you can actually turn content into an asset. You have to treat it like a product. What if we turned our marketing expenses into assets like Watson? What if we created our own content brand? All right, how do you do this? You guys okay? I'm sweating. Okay. I'm just making sure you're all right. How do you do this? You have to think like an entertainment executive. Okay? You have to stop thinking like a marketer and think like an entertainment executive. Let me show you my 3 simple secrets to creating moments of inspiration using the right kind of storytelling. Storytelling you learn when you're producing television or producing films. Secret number 1 is you must build suspense. You have to create anxiety about what's going to happen. William Archer, a masterful playwright, said drama is anticipation mingled with uncertainty. If your story does not have drama, it is not a story. It is not going to create a moment of inspiration. This is F-Secure. F-Secure is a B2B antivirus software company, and they're based in Helsinki, Finland. And they did an amazing job of building suspense over a really good high-level concept when they created the search for brain. I'm going to play just a little bit so you can get a flavor for it.
My name is Mikko Hyppönen, and I work here at F-Secure in Finland. And this here is Brain.
Brain is the first PC virus in the world, and it was actually transmitted on floppy disks. And the chief research officer, Mikko, of F-Secure, decides he will go on a worldwide journey to find the 2 guys in Pakistan who came up with this idiotic virus that we're now trying to protect ourselves from the spawn of this from the rest of the world. And he goes on this amazing journey. He builds suspense throughout the story. Who are these people? What are the questions we should ask? And in fact, he went to Reddit and everybody asked people, what questions should I ask these guys that invented the first PC virus? And people responded. And he asks those questions. I'm not going to show you the end because that's building suspense. Go watch the story. Drama is anticipation mingled with uncertainty. What if your moment of inspiration is tied directly to the suspense you build? The more suspense you build, the bigger the payoff, the bigger the return on investment. Is there inherent suspense in the story I am telling? If not, it is not a story, it's a crappy testimonial. I'm serious about that. There's too many crappy testimonials. Secret number 2. You have to foster aspiration. You have to understand the hopes and ambitions of the people that you serve. In the B2B world, these people don't want to be a mid-level distribution center manager at some crappy manufacturing facility for the rest of their life. They have an aspiration to do something bigger. Everyone does. This is distribution center velocity, okay? And this is who it serves, people who manage these kinds of facilities. Okay? And if you manage a medium-sized distribution center, you're excited about managing a bigger one or a more efficient one. Those are the things that keep you up at night. How can I make this better? So DC Velocity and brands like Dematic, who sell conveyor belts, they don't want to sell one little conveyor belt. They want a distribution center manager to just get so excited about his or her vision for the future that they redesign their whole warehouse. That's the aspiration you want to tie into. So they created a show called Move It.
Welcome back to Move It.
That's all I'm going to show you because I think it's really boring. But I'm not their audience. Okay? This half-hour-long show takes you into the world's best distribution centers, the most efficient ones. And it actually shows you the people who've made them the most efficient ones in the world. The people that medium-sized distribution center managers want to be. And it walks you through the secrets, the emotions of that transition and change. These stories are phenomenally good. And they inspire distribution center managers to change their perspective. This content is so good that actually NHK, a television network in Japan, has licensed the television show to air in Japan. That's how good this content is. It's like How It's Made meets distribution centers. What if your moment of inspiration is tied to your audience's aspirations? When I say be inquisitive, I want you to start understanding those aspirations. Do you know what they are? Not who they are today, who they want to be. What does our audience aspire to do or to be? And how can we tell them stories that show them a path to that success? That is secret number 2, foster aspiration. Secret number 3, this is the final one, and this is maybe my biggest pet peeve with B2B marketing. We don't harness emotion well enough. It's completely devoid of true emotion. And in the television world, this is an unbelievably powerful tool for producing content that does inspire people to act. I want you to start thinking about harnessing emotion. Why? Why would you harness emotion in a B2B story? Because the essential difference between emotion and reason is that emotion leads to action, while reason leads to conclusions. Emotion leads to action. Reason leads to conclusions. All of that content that you're creating close to the moment of purchase is content that plays on reason. It's all the features and the functions and the benefits. It's all the stuff that doesn't make me move. It doesn't inspire me to act. I want you to start thinking about Dr. Donald Kahn's idea of emotion-inspiring action. This is a Danish television show, okay? It's on at 8 o'clock on Sundays in Denmark, and it's called Avengerne, and it means the legacy. This television show is a drama about a famous artist from Denmark who dies and then all of a sudden doesn't leave a will. And he leaves his large family to try fight it out. Who gets the summer house? Who gets the art? Who gets the car? And all of a sudden, drama ensues. Very deep emotional drama. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes an adopted daughter that no one knew about. Oh no! And that's more drama, more emotion. This show is full of emotion. And what happens every Monday morning after this show airs is even more phenomenal. People watch the show about a guy who dies with no will, and on Monday morning at 9 a.m., they call lawyers. They call estate planners. This is one estate planner in Denmark who used to just get 7 new leads a week. Every Monday morning, her answering machine is full with 7 new leads a day. Because this show is so emotional, it inspires people to say, we don't have a will. I don't want this to happen to our family. And it's not just her. In fact, their legal referral website, juf.dk, saw traffic inquiries double for anything that had to do with estate planning. It saw inquiries for estate planner lawyers double week over week for 13 weeks. And this show is now coming to the BBC, and it's now coming to the rest of Europe, and soon Avengerne will be in the US. And this show is so emotional, it can get people to do something no one else wants to do. Call a lawyer. That is the power of emotion. What if you start to uncover the raw emotions attached to whatever you do, whatever your customers, your clients do? What emotion inspires action as it relates to the product or services we provide? That's the questions we need to start asking. I want you to be more inquisitive. I want you to harness emotion. I want you to think like an entertainment executive. If you start thinking this way, if you harness emotion, just like Avengerne does, you will create a moment of inspiration that does give you a return on investment. If you foster aspiration the way DC Velocity understands the dreams and hopes of the mid-level distribution center manager, you will deliver a moment of inspiration that actually inspires them to act. If you build suspense, you will see that it's inversely proportional to the amount of suspense you build, the inspirational moment will deliver for you. I want you to think about these 3 simple secrets. But more than that, I want you to think like television executives. I want you to go on audacious quests, big ideas that are designed to not just be marketing campaigns, but big commitments. Commitments that can create new lines of business like Watson at IBM. I want you to create an irresistible urge to act. If you want to own the consumer journey, if you want to rethink the consumer journey, think about the meatloaf search. And go get meatloaf if you're hungry. I want you to embrace the new model of the online universe. It's not about your website anymore. It's about getting closer and closer every day to your customer and client's experience. I want you to be more inspiring. Please be more inspiring. Think like a television executive. You, my friends, have been drewed. Thank you very much.
you very much, Andrew.
No problem. Oh, that was mine.
Oh, that's yours. Andrew, thank you very, very much. That was fantastic. I guess I have to, how much coffee did you have? And
The guys outside can't keep up. They've had a hard time.
that was my next question. We're just about ready to break for intermission. I was wondering if there's any coffee left out there.
I'm not sure. Hopefully they refilled in my 25 minutes of yelling at you.
I'm so glad we had you at the conference,
Thanks,
Andrew.
Gary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great event.